Welcome again to Wickerson Studios, moving right along with the essentials of C-sharp programming, drawing from Rajaa Issa's handout, which you can get on Rhino Developer. Pretty amazing stuff. Used to generate stuff like this in Tinkercad and Tinkercode and kind of stuck on other people's algorithms. Well, why not create your own? This one's pretty simple. And there's lots of fudges with it, lots of extra data, and I think it's kind of cool. There it is, revolving. Don't have caps on the ends of these pipes, but it's pretty nice to generate something like this. I'm going to take it off turntable, tuck this one away, and we'll go back into shaded, and we'll take a look at the form, and there it is. It's pretty complex, but as we run that simple tree generating numbers, you can see what happens as I start to change this. I'll take a little bit to bring that down to 3. It's going to be a simpler count. Bring this one down to 2, I think. Let's see what happens. I don't think it operates at 0 and 1. I just got to go, oh, I only have it at 2. So pretty simple little things. I got a variable pipe on there that's slowing it down a little bit, but you can really get in here and do some pretty interesting sculptures, which is variable pipes and spheres. There's nothing too tricky about that, but being kind of fundamentals of teaching sculpture, this is always a nice place to begin if you're thinking of working, and I left in all those spheres. Let's see what's actually happening here. Let's take this count down a little bit, and we'll lower it so it doesn't look so funkily drawn up. We'll keep our data pretty small at 4 and 3. And what's generating here is a very interesting system of making trees. So the script itself is a little complex, but you got to get your head around it. Basically, you want to get into the habit of making a type of data tree. And so it's my number tree, new data tree, which can be set to a double, which is fine. The integer path has to be initialized at 0. And then for I, B equals 1, you want to go from B to branches, and then add B plus 1 each time, so it can actually get out of that for loop. Making a list within it, which is fairly simple. You should be used to making a list by now, but you do have to tuck in the GH path at path, creating a new GH path at the path index. So this is where the path index starts to jump back up into your vocabulary and where you're using, and once again, you have to add to that one as well. Otherwise, then I go into another for loop, and I'm going to set that, and I changed that from, I can't remember what it was, I can't remember what I had there, but I changed it up to count. And then I did my number list, and I multiplied the iteration by B, which is going back to the branch, which allows for a little bit of fun, you know, 3 dimensions as you go. And I guess you can just keep going and going with this. And then I just printed pretty cool. And I end up with a numbered tree, which can change from whatever I want. And because I multiplied this, you see the numbers change in each path of that tree. So you don't just keep generating the same branch, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Instead, you double it. So if we go back in there and take a look at the data as I was doing that, you'll see if I bring that one up to 4 count, 0, 1, 2 on the path, it goes up, it multiplies again. And it's not exponential. I guess it could be if I wanted it to be, but I'm not going to have it be that way. That would have generated a different geometry. So there's the script, and just play around with the script and see what that does, because the farthest back to the left you go, the better control you get. And there you go. You made a pretty wild form. My daughter's going to come here and bother me. Well, not bother me. She's been making a lot of noise. So I've got these numbers that come out as a tree. So I have 15 values inherent in 1, 2, 3 branches, 5 on each value. And then I just pop in a sphere. I start moving it. I move it accordance to that because we're dealing in trees. So keep your fancy wires on as you go. Then I'm going to throw it through another range, which is dependent upon those numbers, which is nice, into that domain. And that'll make the polar array. And then the polar array will go over again and be moved once again up. And you can keep using that data as you go in. And this time I didn't bring into the, because that would have been too crazy. But I could have done it. I just put it up and down in the Z direction with a simple domain. And then I cleaned my tree. I'm not sure why I cleaned my tree. Probably not necessary at all. If I got out my tree. Oh, my gosh. Hang on a second. Hang on. I got to leave there. Let's go back. I am not. What did I do? Did I take my tree and clean it? No, I didn't. Well, it still runs, but it's got an error, insufficient vertices for curves. So that's why I cleaned my tree. Couldn't remember why I did that, but I did it. And then my variable pipe, I like to just do this, and you can go in here and grab whatever kind of graph type you like. So we'll grab a little parabola, see what that does. That funks it up pretty good. Let's take the 0 so it's not so thin. Bring that one up, and then let's put this funky fat one up here. And you can always go in and really have fun with this. If I really accentuate that way, it's kind of ballooning out like nuts. And I've got a couple bits of data here that I'm not too happy with, but not too strange. And I think I have them on a flat cap for certain ones, but some actually stay open. So I've got to do a little analysis in there, find out what that's about. But there's a little parabola staircase for madness, and have fun with that. Throw it back into your render. You're not going to see anything until you see something, but let's just throw it in a little bake. Group it. Make sure you do that first. And there we go. Give it a little bit of time, and it's probably, yeah, you see there's a little bit of trouble with things staying open, but otherwise it generated a pretty funky little thing that I don't know if it's worth making. You could go, oh, that's pretty amazing. So now I'm getting excited because that's what it's all about. Discovery of patterns like that, things you would never ever script, a little bit of math. It's taken a long time on these pen technical and artistic drawings. So whether I'm going to sit here and wait and watch it, I'm not sure. Um, that's just a big crazy rendering trying to do that. But to try and make that in Rhino, never would have done it in CAD. Never would have ended up here. Once I cap all these ends, if I could cure it, make it a solid, I'll try to do that some way in Rhino probably, or I could go back into Grasshopper. But it's start with a C, see how far you can get. Go into Grasshopper, do some funk with that tree data. It's pretty nice to be generating there. It's not too hard to follow the scripts, cut and paste them, and understand what the GH paths mean and why you have to put them in there and initialize them. But literally, you're nesting in items into lists and lists into tree paths, and that makes a lot of visual verbal sense for me. Right now, I shouldn't have slowed it down. So I think I'm going to exit. Hopefully, I can exit. No, I can't. Looks like we're going to end with a nice crash because I was trying to pull a render in that had some trouble with the caps being open. So 6.5 minutes in, sorry to end on a bad note, but Merry Christmas to half the world over there. And let's just keep going and going and going.